If you've been around my channel for any period of time, you know that I talk about the Internet of Things quite often. Now, there's different arms and branches and other limbs and ligaments that come off of it. We know about the Internet of Bodies and the Internet of Education and all these things that have to do with that. But the Internet of Things truly is something that connects all people, technology, cities, transportation, and everything in between all together. And a lot of the parts that come off of it include appliances and technology that we just have around our house, whether it's phones and tablets to smart TVs to even smart refrigerators, your car, your smart watches, and all that stuff. They're all listening, they're all recording, they're all watching, and they're all sending our data back to places. Well, part of the smart TV isn't just about collecting, it's also about pushing propaganda as well. And what we see coming out of Australia is a big sign of what's to come. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Zach, the Wretched Watchman, and bringing you a little bit of news coming out of Australia. And I never am one to ignore or pass up things going on in other countries and whatnot, because usually if they're coming out in other countries, that means they're going in other places as well. So they're always warning shots to people all around the world, and especially when it comes to Australia. We saw what happened in 2020. They were the guinea pig when it came to a lot of the different things that the world started doing, whether it was different lockdowns and different shutdowns and trying different things and other stuff that I can't say on this platform. But Australia is a big one when it comes to this stuff. And now we've got some information coming out, some news coming out regarding smart TVs and propaganda. So let's head on over to Sky News here and we'll take a look. Says Australian smart TVs. Smart is always the important thing because it connects everything and connects everyone together. So these things are never good. Australian smart TV is to be regulated. Oh, that's even better. Through prominence legislation to make government-funded news appear ahead of commercial outlets. They want the propaganda machine. They want Project Mockingbird, which is not just United States, it's global, to make sure they're being pushed first and foremost. And we can see from another outlet says Australia considers forcing smart TVs to pre-install apps from legacy media. See, that's one of the biggest things that I warned about when it came to the Internet of Things. Not only is it collecting data, but they can be programmed to make sure that in this case they're going to have only their stuff be shown ahead of the other outlets, but to we're going to get to a point where they're just going to remove all other outlets and it's only going to be the propaganda machine. I mean, 1984, you want that face constantly watching you on your TV. They're working on it. But if we keep going with this article, and this is from Sky News, it says Australia is coming up with another radical idea that regards the media business control over what kind of media content people are likely to see or see first. So they're even saying some stuff might just be completely blocked, which again, that doesn't surprise us with all of the censorship that we see going on. An inclusion of protectionism and favoritism of certain media and actual regulation. If we don't like it, you don't get to produce it, or at least nobody will see it. The proposal is pretty comprehensive as it is supposed to force smart TV manufacturers to have legacy media and state-funded outlet apps pre-installed on the devices. This, observers say, would give such news outlets a clear advantage over most commercial ones, regardless of which content is more relevant or popular. Yeah, because they only want us to know what they want us to know. They don't want anybody else's opinion. This is part of the new normal. I mean, everybody remembers that phrase when it started in 2020, but that comes from an older phrase called a new world view. And the new normal has to do with re-education, not only on the physical level with technology and propaganda, but it also has to do with re-education on the spiritual level as well. It's all part of the fourth industrial revolution. This is part of it. Critics are already comparing this as being in line with something one might expect from the excesses of real or fictional authoritarian regimes, and surveillance states. You don't say. Given the Australian government's track record, it ain't good on these and similar issues, which was laid bare during the pandemic. It's unlikely that any criticism will phase those behind the prominence framework for connected TV devices proposal. They don't care what you have to say. And that goes for all politicians around the world. They don't care. They just want their money and they don't want their blackmail released. There's a reason why Epstein did what he did. The draft is the work of the Labour Party, specifically the pro-censorship communication minister, Rochelle Rowland. And in addition to pre-installed apps, critics are warning that the regulation, if it passes, would include manipulated search results for news stories. That's already happening. There's even video out there that has the woman from the UN say they worked with Google to manipulate search results. So that stuff's already happening. But now they're trying to do it on TVs and whatnot too. In Australia, this would boost broadcasters like ABC and SBS. Oh, isn't that wonderful? As well as 9 and 7, which are commercial. While other commercial media companies, for obvious reasons, reporting that this is a very negative manner, mention that free TV lobbyists have their hand in promoting the plan. And so it is from free TV that we learn how the thing would work. For example, in case of voice-activated devices, again, voice-activated devices, you can't turn that off. Even if there's a thing that pops up that says turn it off, even if you think that you turned it off, it's not off. It is always listening. It's always recording, and it's always sending that data back. Let's see. For example, in the case of voice-activated devices and their owners searching for news, in that case, the consumer must first be offered the local TV services that provide news content, with priority given to any such local TV services that the consumer has previously accessed. Basically, if you search for news, we're going to make sure that the propaganda pops up first. So it's not just about artificially pushing one type of media at the expense of others, but also about building up echo chambers. This is very interesting that this is coming from Sky News. I'm just going to be honest. Labor's explanation, meanwhile, states that the goal is to counter the effects streaming has on the industry by propping up free-to-air channels. In many ways, it looks like an attempt to fight against the laws of nature, i.e. more and more people in Australia turning to online subscriptions and internet-connected TVs, which comes as a natural result of the evolution of technology. So what we got here, again, is another element to the Internet of Things, to the smart devices and all these things. Again, it's not only collecting data, it's not only watching and recording you at all times. There's no shutting it off, turning it off type of thing, but it's also going to be used to force feed things upon people, whether it's just entirely removing content, blacklisting it, shadow banning things, which if anybody has been on YouTube, you know that people who speak truth tend to get shadow banned. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, by the way, because I'm one of them. But it's also going to make sure that their stuff gets pushed ahead of yours. And again, I don't have the video available right now, but I've shown it before, where there is a UN lady who was sitting there being interviewed at a conference and said basically they were working with Google to make sure that their information appeared at the top of the Google search results. And then she goes on to say they own the science. But I thought science was objective. Oh, I guess not. That's okay. I'll stick with keeping my eyes on the creator of science. He's better. Much better. But this is something, again, we see going on in Australia. We see a lot of stuff happening in the EU, the United States, and China, other Asian countries, even in Russia, all these places where they are making sure that they are censoring the truth. They're censoring any dissenting opinions, opposing opinions. They're trying to make sure that their propaganda machine continues to move forward. There's different laws and regulations happening all over the place. The EU is one of the big ones where they're requiring social media to make sure that some topics aren't discussed. We see what's going on in Google. We see what's going on with YouTube and all these other platforms and whatnot. They're trying their best to do this. And a lot of people say you can't regulate the internet. Well, guess what? DARPA owns the internet. They're the ones who created the internet. And they're going to make sure that they regulate the ever loving patootie out of it. And if they can't do that, then they've got good old Elon Musk with his Starlink that if plug everybody into that, and they've got full control in that way too. This is just something that we know is coming. It's not only coming, but we're seeing it actually come online now. I'll be honest, I never thought this would be something that I would see, that we would see as the remnant church. I thought, I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of things coming online right now that are probably, I'm not going to sit here and say for sure because I don't know for sure, but are probably going to play a part in this beast system that's coming into play. So just remember, because whenever I talk about these types of subjects, people tend to get freaked out and whatnot. So I just want to go ahead and say, remember, they've already got all our data. They're already watching us. We can't stop it. I mean, we can do things, like I've even got covers on my cameras and stuff at all times, but still, you got phones and tablets and other things that are constantly recording you and sending data back. There's no way to block them from doing that. I mean, that's another thing with the smart cities out there. Anywhere you go, they're watching and recording you. However, it's important to remember, while they might always be watching us, our God, our Almighty Father, is watching them closer than they could ever watch us. And that is the most important thing to remember. So just keep that in mind. Censorship and forced propaganda and all this stuff is going to continue to get worse. We know that. Matthew 24, when the disciples asked Jesus, what are the signs of your coming? He started out and said, do not be deceived. This is part of the deception that's going on. So just keep your eyes to the sky. Lord is coming soon. Continue to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with as many people as you can, because again, that's what we need to be doing in this wonderful generation. He gives us 2 commandments: warn people of what is coming and get people to Jesus. We can't save, only he can, but we need to be planting those seeds. So I'm going to leave you guys right here. Again, continue to look skyward. Our redemption draws nigh. I'll see you guys later. Peace out and Maranatha.